6 million Jews were massacred in all of Europe, including 1.5 million children. But in the Lithuanian towns and villages, the final solution to the Jewish question was already implemented in the summer and autumn of 1941. The first Jews were killed not far from their homes. Before the Nazis arrived, it was the work of the Lithuanian activist front. And soon the bloody wave overflowed to every Lithuanian province. Thousands of innocent Jews, Lithuanian citizens, were relentlessly driven to town squares or to the forest and murdered. Thousands of children were murdered alongside their parents. The Nazis began the executions using not only the Lithuanian units, but also the local police, the government institutions, town dwellers and peasants. At night, the local inhabitants heard the pervasive moans from the overwhelmed ditches. In the autumn, ghettos were established in the bigger cities.
À Auschwitz et dans tous les camps où j'étais, je ne suis jamais retournée, je ne peux pas. Je n'ai pas dit les dixièmes, je ne vous ai pas raconté, parce que ce n'est pas possible. Et puis c'est trop dur à se rappeler, à revivre tout ça. C'est trop difficile pour moi. Je suis trop âgée maintenant pour ça.
But they all refused. His last hope was his long-term neighbor, whom he asked respectfully to keep it until his return. And in case this wouldn't happen, keep it for good. The neighbor said, "I'd be pleased to do it, but won't, because it is against the law to take valuables from Jews." Reiso Mangold, his wife and son Tommy were deported to Auschwitz, and none of them returned.
The first transport of Hungarian Jews arrived at Auschwitz-Birkenau on the 30th of April 1944. Between 15th of May and 8th of July, more than half of the Hungarian jury, totaling at least 437,402.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. In company with our brave allies and
אז אני אבוא אלייך עכשיו הרבה, שתדעי, זה כבר טוב, אה? נכון. אני אבוא אלייך לבקר אותך הרבה, ואני אבוא לצלם אותך.
Flat top, the Ivy, the junior contour, and occasionally the executive turn.
This is London calling. Here is a news flash. The German radio has just announced that Hitler is dead. I'll repeat that. The German radio has just announced that
אבי הרשקו חיים כחן נולד ב-20 ליוני 1912 באיוושט, עיר קטנה של מחוז גל"צ במולדובה, והוא היה בן של ויקטוריה וברל כחנה. אבי היה בן הבכור, אחריו היו שני אחיות, לאה וסוזי. אבא שלו, ברל, נפטר כשהם היו עדיין צעירים, והוא לקח לעצמו את האחריות להיות ראש המשפחה, והיה מסור למשפחה שלו.
החלום הזה חוזר אליי שוב ושוב. כשאני פוגשת את אחותי ואני שואלת אותה, מה, את בחיים? לא לקחו אותך לתאי הגזים? בוודאי שאני בחיים. למה את שואלת? ואני כל כך מאושרת. אבל אחר כך, כשאני מתעוררת, אני רואה שזה היה רק חלום.
father, Solis Kuklianskis, was a chemist-pharmacist, and my mother, Zinaida, was a doctor. We grew up in the small but very beautiful village of Veiseye, close to the splendid Lake Antje, in the extraordinary beautiful Zukia, full of hills, lakes and forests, where many generations of our ancestors lived. When I was 11, I finished at Veiseye school and studied for half a year at Latvia Gibberish Gymnasium. The family then moved to Panevėžys, where I studied for 3 years at the Panevėžys Men's Gymnasium. After that, we went to live in Alytus for a few years, where I finished the Alytus Gymnasium. There we were overtaken by the war. The day before June 21st, late in the evening, after a day of sports competitions, at the official closing ceremony, we were presented with our school certificates. Early the next morning, the explosions woke us up. In order to avoid all the repeating bombardments, we left everything, including nearly all our finances, and went to the suburbs. However, the German military advance was so rapid that it overtook us the next day at Butrimonis. The move lost its meaning, and we turned back. The persecution and jeering of Jews began on the road immediately. The local inhabitants, with and without their white armbands, ostensibly offended us, as if looking for guns, and threatened to finish us off. Propaganda and music were heard from each house, and this was all instigation. It was terrifying what they told about us and what people believed. We are exploiters, like this and like this. It's difficult for me to repeat. I heard the radio myself when I went this way. They accused us of all the wrongdoings in the world. Collectively, they identified the Jews with the communists.